Hello and welcome everyone to another week of the Meadows and Makers podcast. My name is Greg Dowd, also known as Making Stuff on the Steam at Hive universe. Welcome to the show, and this show is all about trying to move toward a more self-reliant life and get into that direction, trying to stay positive even in these crazy times that we live in right now. I try to give you guys solutions and things, bring on people that are inspiring and try to always leave you hopeful, even though we talk about some of the craziness and everything that's going on in this world, and that's my charge, is to leave you guys hopeful and to put you down the path to taking life into your own hands and not being dependent on any external systems. So that's great. I just want to shout out to everybody that's hanging out here so far for the show. We got Movement 19. We got JP's. Good to see you, man. Let's see. Vaccines cause avian flu. We got Patient Zero. We got Rondon. We got Swoop. Soundwaves Photons. So thanks, guys, for coming to hang out today. So yeah, I just want to get the housekeeping stuff out of the way. The views and opinions that are expressed on this podcast are my own and those of my guests. They do not reflect on the old MSP waves and the wonderful folks that keep this operation rolling around here and getting you guys out some awesome content to the internet's lands. So, hello, internets. And if you have any feedback, send it my way. And it does not reflect on MSP Waves. So thank you guys for being here today. Right here in the States, we got July 4th, and in honor of July 4th and our remembering of the declaration of our independence from Britain. Today is a day where we get out there and we're celebrating that fact, but we've moved so further away from that. Our rights are being trampled left and right here, and it's really a time for us all to declare our own independence, and individually, I have, I think it is a really great time to go and declare our individual independence from this system and start moving in a positive direction. And here's a meme for you: Independence Day, and it's got a unicorn, because sometimes we like to pretend things exist when they don't, and it's a harsh truth. We live in such a restrictive society here in the U.S., the old USSA, and so somebody out there in the community, in the voluntarist community, put out a video recently. His name's Disenthrall, and he put out that it's time for those that can see this whole agenda and the things that are going on to withdraw your consent, to take away your consent from the system, and to move forward in a positive direction, even on an individual basis. And so I kind of want to start off today with the Declaration of Individual Independence that these guys have put together. And I wanted to declare my own Declaration of Individual Independence. And so that's how I'm going to start it off today. I'm going to start off the podcast with reading you some of this. And then we're going to get into a few things, some of the things that I've got going on, and get into some skills and some other stuff, and kind of have an open discussion today about where things are going, where you guys think things are going, what side do you want to be on? The side of freedom and individual personal responsibility, or do you want to be on the side of control and totalitarian control? I think we're coming on that point. We're there already, and people. I want to see everybody on the freedom side. I want to see everyone on the freedom side. And so, that's my goal. Really, is to get everybody to kind of see these things and to go freedom. So here you go. The Universal Declaration of the Individual. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for a person to dissolve the political bonds which have chained them in subservience to a non-consensual government, and to assume among their fellow humans the separate and equal station to which their self-ownership entitles them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes that impel them to the separation. I hold these truths to be self-evident, that all rational beings are created equal. Whether endowed by nature or their creator, they possess free will, the ability to conceptualize and actualize a preferred state, and a capacity for agency, self-determination, and reciprocity. A respect for which requires mutual agreement to hold one's consent sacrosanct and inviolate. That from this respect flow unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and self-ownership. To secure these rights, no government, no person or group of people which violate the consent of another may be suffered to exist. That whenever any such entity becomes destructive in these ends, it is the right of the person to withdraw their consent, defend against, and abolish it. Mankind's ability to suffer injustice seemingly infinite when faced with danger nourishes well these governments that stand to attack me for mine own safety. Their centuries-long history of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably more involuntary power invices their true nature of absolute despotism. It is my right to throw off such government, to choose to suffer their evils no longer, and to provide new guards for my future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of myself, and such is now the necessity which constrains me to abolish their former systems of involuntary government. The history of these governments is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having having indirect object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over me and my property. In evidence of this, let the following facts be submitted for candid world, that some of the tyrannical evils I have suffered under be known to all. And I want to read you a paragraph from here, and then we will, or I'm going to choose. I have a couple of paragraphs chosen here. So bear with me. And I'm going to get into some of these things. I therefore, being the sole proprietor of my mind and body, appealing to the rational minds of the world, for the rectitude of my intentions, do in my name and by my sovereign authority solemn publish and declare that this person, myself, and the right ought to be free and independent, that I am absolved of all allegiance to this government and any other involuntary system or structure of control and regulation, and that all political connection between myself and the state is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as a free and independent person I have full power to protect myself using necessary means, contract with others, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, I agree and pledge that by my life, my fortune, my sacred honor, I will hold sacrosanct agency, consent, and property of others, likewise expecting, requiring, and demanding the same be afforded me. I own myself, and I lead myself. And there we go. I will. I want to read one of the paragraphs through here. They, through the extortion they name taxation, have so thoroughly, forcefully interfered in every single peaceful interaction and transaction taken through the course of time that proper restitution has become utterly incalculable. The damages and criminal violations of sovereignty nearing infinite. My mere existence indebts me to no one. They unable to be other than despotic, falsely claim rightful control over my ability to peacefully travel the world. They will attack me for attempting to do so without their permission or for using means outside of their approved channels. They established rules by fiat that controlled my trade associations with those outside arbitrary lines on a map and euphemize and reframe theft as tariffs. So, having said that, I will once again state I own myself and I lead myself. And that's the Declaration of Individual Independence. And let me drop that in the chat room for anybody that would like to make this statement or would want to check it out and go for, putting something out there where you put your words out into the universe, and so that you for all those that can see what's going on, that you can move in the direction that you so choose. And so there you go. And I love you guys. I appreciate everybody that comes out to hang out with me on the show. And so that being done and getting that out of the way, I'd like to move into some of the things that I think that are really gonna push things in a better direction, and that is voluntary communities and voluntary interactions between these in these communities, like trade networks and barter networks, getting outside of the totally tracked, traced, and taxed systems that exist out there, and that's, I think, what's going to lead us down a better road as humanity. And so that's what's going on. It really comes down to personal responsibility and how you're gonna move forward, and it is your choice. It's your choice on whether you want to move down that road of totalitarianism and total control. We're moving into a time where, a lot of these things like mandatory masks, and really a lot of people need to think about if everyone just keeps complying with this, and you lay down and you don't give any resistance to the mask thing, then it's going to be like, okay, everybody's going to be complying with the mask. Well, now you just got to take a shot. It's just it's for your own good. It's for the good of everyone. You own your own body. You can't if you don't own your own body, then what do you have as far as life and your freedom? So it's just time to not comply and to try to get outside of the system as much as possible. I really think that things are going to get worse before they get better here, and it really is time to empower yourself with as much knowledge as possible to start moving into a better direction. I know what you're saying, JP, and yeah, it's part in my own family. I'm having a lot of these struggles. Is that you got families getting together for this time right now, and it's just like I got something from my brother where it was saying like you can come hang out with us, but you got to wear a mask, and it's like I'm not doing that. And so you guys can go do your own thing, and yeah, it's tough with family, and there you go. Yeah, I really don't get it, but that's my own personal struggles there. But anyway, moving forward, um, let's see. Uh, yeah, so I wanted to show you guys a few of the things that I've been up to recently, and some exciting news in my local area around Crane Hill, where my property is. Uh, that they got a little bar and grill down there now, so they got a little restaurant that's just down the road from my property down there. So, and they're looking for fresh organic vegetables and stuff. So I talked to the restaurant owner and all that when I was down there. I was down there yesterday, and we talked for a little bit. And yeah, there's a potential opportunity there for there's a potential opportunity there to be able to serve them with some fresh organic produce. So anyway, they're right down the road, and that's a really great thing. And they just opened up about very recently. So yeah, there's a this is the little bar and grill that they opened up at the RV park down the road from my place, and I'm pretty happy with all that. So anyway, they're like within walking distance down the road, so you can like walk down to the lake. You can get a bite to eat. You know, they got bathrooms in there. It's all air conditioned and everything. And so it just makes it a little nicer. And then I believe they're gonna do like they're gonna do bands like every Friday. And as you can see in that little town, nobody's wearing masks, nobody's doing any of that crap, and everybody's living their life as and going about their business as normal, and everybody's doing fine. So so don't live in fear, and that's another one. A big message is that just don't live in fear, and boost your immune system. And then the people that are at risk for being ill, have other immune deficiencies and all that, work on boosting your immune system, but don't live your life in fear. And and take just get out there and live your life. So that's a big thing that I like to tell people. But so so anyway. Uh, uh, just looking at some of the chats going on here, and yeah, I mean, there's I see that I've started the vaccine debate here, so yeah, I mean, it's your choice for going down that road, but I mean, as for me, don't try to force vaccinations on anyone, and don't. I'm fine with you doing whatever you want to do, just as long as you don't use force against others to get people to protect each other from themselves. Listen, freedom. You know, you're at risk of dying any day. Let's not pretend that death is totally curable. I mean, we're all gonna die at some point. You don't know the time or the place or wherever that you're gonna spend your last minute here. So none of us is guaranteed that. And so to try to protect everyone from everybody from anything at any time is just total lunacy, in my opinion. And so so there you go. But don't try to enforce your views on other people, and don't try to use the force of government against other peaceful people that want to live their lives the way that they so choose and own their bodies and their own minds. And so there you go. So Rondon, you threw something down in there. You got a 100 Hive giveaway, so go check that out on MSP Waves. And let's see. Now tweeting show announcements 5 minutes before every live show. If you want to keep up with the news and shows, follow MSP Waves on Twitter. There you go. If you want a chance to win 100 Hive, retweet this and comment with your Hive name. So there you go. Check it out. so there you go. Anyway, we'll get back into what's currently been going on. Really excited about this bar to grill that's going down right down the road from me. Ron9 says all you have to do is retweet and comment with your Hive name to get into that 100 Hive giveaway. So there you go, guys. There's an opportunity to, win some Hive. So that's awesome. Cool. And good on Eurosol. Thank you, Eurosol, for donating to that. That's great. All right. So, through a local Facebook deal, I found some of these IBC totes that I'm going to use for wicking beds. And if you guys don't know what a wicking bed is, it's essentially what we're going to do with this. Okay, sorry, Eurosol made the software. All right. That just tweets automatically. Oh, that's awesome. Right on, Eurosol. So yeah, we got a bunch. I got 4 of these IBC totes. I found them for a really good deal. This guy was selling for like $50 a piece, and that's like an awesome deal for these guys. They had some like it's like a epoxy that was in the bottom of them. So what I'm gonna do with these guys is I'm gonna cut all these in half, and I'm gonna use both the sides, and we'll fill the bottoms up after we get them nice and cleaned out. We'll fill the bottoms up with stone, and then the top layer will be all like some soil and compost. It's like just like a topsoil compost mix, and then we'll plant different produce in them. And the benefits of using these wicking beds is that you can put your water down into the bottom where the stone is, and then you create a pool of water down in that stone, and it prevents evaporation, and it also causes the roots of the plants to seek the water down there in that stone area. So that's a really good way to encourage root growth with the plants. It makes them the plants more hardy and able to grow in a more hardy fashion. And you also don't have to worry about weeds as much because you have this kind of sealed container system. So in my opinion, this goes really good with aquaponics. And in fact, if you guys want to learn more about this, there's a really good YouTube channel that you guys should go check out. His name is Rob Bob's. Let's see. Yeah. Rob Bob's Aquaponics and Backyard Farms. So if anybody's interested in learning more about wicking beds, I'm going to document the whole process of me building these, and I'm going to share that with everybody. But if you want to get off to the races with wicking beds, or you want to learn more about this technology, and this guy's got some really great videos out there on building your own DIY wicking beds, and he's big into backyard aquaponics and has his own backyard aquaponics farm and everything. So definitely recommend checking out Rob Bob. I envy the beard. As you guys can see, I shaved mine off recently, but yeah, I did have a beard about that long, and I don't know how he keeps it together so well, man. Like I always had problems with the beard dividing, just beard problems in general. But yeah, there's lots of stuff about this whole coronavirus that's going on. I think you can go to the Worldometer website and go look at as the number of cases are increasing, the number of deaths is decreasing, and so that definitely looks like people are uh, gaining resistance to whatever it is that's going on out there. And then also, they're doing all these PCR testings, and the guy that invented the PCR test has admitted that the PCR test was never supposed to be a tool for diagnosing infectious disease. And so, that's what, and there's been evidence that they've been cooking the books basically on these tests, and then just inflating the numbers essentially. Uh, so yeah, do your own research, and don't let the fear control you, and stop complying with some of this stuff. So, uh, yeah. So Lax is saying, you guys know the NSA is spying on you. Why do they need to do this in order to contact trace you? Yeah, that's something that everybody should be aware of. Is that, I mean, when you're carrying your smartphone around everywhere, it's more of a psychological deal with all these people they're hiring as like contact tracers. It's almost like, yeah, I don't know, some of these bad science fiction movies where you got the Adjustment Bureau. Yeah, you guys should go watch the Adjustment Bureau. That's that kind of almost sounds like this contact tracing thing where it's like I think everybody takes this drug to suppress their emotions, and then this one guy stops taking the drug or something like that, and I think that's the Adjustment Bureau, or that might be there might be another one about that, but anyway, yeah, Adjustment Bureau is a really good one. And then think I'm thinking of another one, but if some Equilibrium, I'm thinking Patient Zero is the man. Yeah, Equilibrium. That's the one that I'm talking about with the whole drug thing. That one's pretty good too. But the Adjustment Bureau is also really good. So, so yeah. Anyway, go check those out. Last night I watched this movie. It was with Michael Douglas called it's called Falling Down. And the guy was like, he was just like stuck in traffic one day, and then he just kind of lost it and just kind of like went on a rampage against like everything that he thought was like an injustice and all the things that he was just lied about all over his life. And yeah, I stayed up a little too late watching that movie because it was a recommendation from somebody. I think it was like Luke Radowski was talking about it or something like that on one of his videos, so I had to go watch it. Anyway, yeah, I hope everybody's having a good day. Been working on this guy right here. This is a new water for my quail, and I built this out of a 5-gallon bucket and some PVC components and some vinyl tubing, and so it makes it a little easier to water the quail. And if you can see in the live stream video here, you can see how it's all set up in their little cage. And I'm working to get rid of this cage, and got plans to build these quail in aviary over these wood chips so that they have more room to walk around, and then they're gonna have more room to kind of poop and everything that they're gonna do around here and do their business. And so I've got about 30 quail, and they're producing about 8 eggs a day. And then I'm taking some of those eggs and I'm pickling them, and I'm trying to get better at doing the pickling and all that. So, so here's another view of this system, and let me that's the final version of it all put together. And let me scroll through some of these and kind of walk you guys through the process of how I built this thing. And so you get an idea of what I did here on how to build this thing. There's the pickled quail eggs right there, freshly pickled last week. brought some over to my buddy who's got a farm close by, and he says they pay like $10 a jar for these quail eggs. So I was like, well, damn, I might try to sell some of these quail eggs if I get a bunch of extras. Uh, so yeah, he really liked them, and he had his little daughter started eating some of these quail eggs, and she ate one, she had another, she had another, and she had like probably 4 or 5 of these little pickled quail eggs. So at least somebody liked them. So. So yeah, here we go. Working on this water system. We just take one of those 5-gallon buckets that you can get anywhere at any of the stores that sell these little 5-gallon buckets everywhere. Um, and started off with that and one of these step bits to drill a 3/4 inch hole in the bucket. I'm gonna use 3/4 inch fittings, PVC fittings on this, and then we go down to a 1/2 inch. We go down to a 1/2 inch piece of vinyl tubing, and this is some gasket material that this was a suggestion by my dad, and it was really ended up being a really good suggestion. But you take a thin-walled socket and you put it up against a flat surface, anvil or something, anything like that, and you just smack it with a hammer. And after you do that, the thin wall is able to penetrate down into that gasket material, and actually does a pretty good job at cutting the gasket into a perfect circle that you need. So yeah, there you go. You end up with a nice cut circle, right on the diameter that you need for the PVC fitting to fit through. And so this gasket material goes on both the inside and the outside of the bucket, so that when you screw in your thread, that you'll have that nice gaskets on both sides, so that you create a watertight seal. And so, yeah, that was a little trick that ended up working out really well. So yeah, if you ever get into a position where you've got some kind of gasket or some kind of rubbery, kind of a thin rubbery material, you can use something like a thin-walled socket to create a hole. So if you don't have any leather tools or any of the other stuff that's actually designed for it, then that ended up working really good. And yeah, that's a method you could do to cut into a material like that, a little bit softer material. So yeah, here you go. Here's the PVC fitting coming through that part of the gasket, and after it did that, just cut that piece of gasket to the appropriate size so that it would fit. It would fit on the inside of the bucket. And then taking the step drill bit, drill a 3/4 inch hole into the 5-gallon bucket. Close to the bottom, it was about a. I think I did about 1.5 inches off the bottom, and or two. I didn't measure it. I kind of eyeballed this one. It's either 1.5 inches or 2 inches off the bottom, and drilled my 3/4 inch hole in there, and that ended up being just like perfectly the height that I needed to get that put in there. So yeah, vaccines movement. You're saying that you're building a mobile off-grid outdoor bathroom right now. Oh, awesome, man! That's really cool. Yeah, that's great. So here you go. After we get that process done, we put that gasket material on the inside of the bucket, and then we put that 3/4 inch fitting through from the one side. It's just a PVC fitting that has the male 3/4 inch NPT thread on one side, and then it's open to a 3/4 inch pipe on the other side. So that's just the inlet for the water. And number one rule in plumbing, this is kind of what I've learned from doing plumbing for my house and failing a few times, is that When you think you have enough Teflon tape, put more Teflon tape on it. Because you're always going to need, yeah, there always seems to be a little bit of a leak or something like that, especially if you don't use enough Teflon tape or whatever. So yeah, if you think you got enough Teflon tape, put more Teflon tape on it, and that'll usually work. So anyway, you Teflon tape that that fitting, and then you put another gasket over top of that, and then we were taking one of these 3/4 to 1/2 inch nipples there, and that's going to get threaded into one of the ends of a PVC pipe assembly, and we're using 1/2 inch vinyl tubing, and that 1/2 inch vinyl tubing goes right onto that barb fitting right there, and then you got that assembly put together. Then you screw on one of these ball valves. I'm just using a 3/4 inch PVC ball valve, and then that's what's gonna control your flow to the assembly of the cups. And here you go. As this assembly gets put together, these little cups you can buy on Amazon, or you can probably find them at your local like outdoor farming equipment, Tractor Supply, Rural King, any of those places. We found that the cheapest ones we could find were on Amazon, and we actually got a few guys together that were interested in setting up chicken systems, and we all went together and bought a big pack of these little cups for the waters for those guys. So that ended up bringing the price down for us, and then we were able to create our own little individual systems. Everybody was able to set up their own individual systems for cheaper. So anyway, here's a view of the system as it's completed there, and there's 3 of these little T fittings that they're the 3/4 inch PVC, but then they're threaded for they're threaded for like a 1/4 inch NPT fitting, which is the fitting for these cups, and that was kind of a lesson learned from my buddy Dimitri. If you guys remember that my buddy Dimitri came on and was talking about setting up this system a while back, but he just drilled and tried to tap the hole himself, and he kind of learned that that doesn't really work very well with these fine threads on these 1/4 inch NPT little cups. So that didn't really work that well. So you can go out and you buy these little T fittings, and they're already threaded for that 1/4 inch NPT. So it worked out really well. Oh, okay. So, vaccines causing avian flu. I do have to fake news you to go outside and start painting the trailer. I'll take pics. Love to catch up with you. Have you on my show soon. Okay, cool. Yeah, man. You're right. I haven't painted the trailer yet. It still says China shipping on it and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I need to get my act together on that. What I'd really like to do is I have this Maslow CNC piece of equipment, and it's not number one on my priority list to put that together just yet. And I've got 2 other projects that I really need to get completed. I want to finish these Wicking Beds, and then I want to get started on a wood gasifier project, which are the two big ones that are on my list right now. And once I get completed with the wood gasifier project, I have the urbanite project that's going on, and then we got and then I want to hit that CNC machine. But anyway, with this Maslow CNC machine, I'll be able to cut out different patterns in plywood just 2D patterns using a router in this little. It'll be a frame with a router on it, and I'll be able to cut out shapes with the router on this Maslow CNC. It's all open source CNC, and use that as a template, and then I'll be able to use that to like spray paint the logo, like spray paint logos on the side of the shipping container, and make all the lettering and all that stuff on my own. And anyway, that's kind of one of the things I want to work on. But that's not a huge like number one priority right now for me. But there's other ways I could do it too. But just kind of want to figure out. It'll be a really good first test, I think, for the CNC machine, the Maslow CNC machine. So that's on the docket. So anyway, there's the completed assembly. Really simple little setup, and it's a lot easier to get this going instead of having, some small water. These cups tend to stay a lot cleaner than having a little water system, on like an on ground little water or something like that for these quail. And so they're just a nicer little system. How the guys get their water is they'll dip their beaks in there, and that little yellow piece right there, every time they push that down, it opens the valve to let a little bit of water come into the cup, and it just keeps the water nice and fresh, and keeps their any poop or anything out of it, and then gets them some continuous fresh water, and you don't have to go and be filling that up continuously all the time. It just you get a good reservoir of water in there, and then you can just come back and refill it as it drains out. So anyway, you could even like parallel a bunch of other buckets in here, and you just need to have the bucket a little bit a little bit higher than where your cups are, to allow gravity to pull that water down through and into the cups. And so yeah, you just fill those 5-gallon buckets up, and then you could even attach like a 55-gallon bucket to a system like this, and it really doesn't matter the size of the container, and and there you go. Yeah. So anyway, let me play you guys actually the little video I took. Here's a little video I took of the whole system working, and hopefully. All right, y'all. So this is a little quail waterer, and it uses these little cups here. So it's just a little 5-gallon bucket that you can pick up anywhere, and it's got a ball valve down here, PVC. It's got these little grommets that you can see there, and a little piece of vinyl tube coming down to a PVC assembly here. And then there's these little cups, and when the bird comes to get its water, then it just pokes this little thing down. It fills these little water cups up, and you'll see it overflow here in a second. It'll start to overflow once as it gets held down too long. But yeah, I got it all put together to help with my buddy Dimitri, and setting me up one of these. He set one of these up for his quail, so this is going to be a little quail waterer. And yeah, it's a nice little system. It can be used for chickens too, any poultry, birds, or anything that you're keeping. And this way, it just makes it easier to keeps the water clean and keeps them from messing up the water, and keeps it nice and clean for them and fresh. And you just come and fill that 5-gallon bucket up with more water. So that's pretty cool. More to follow. Peace. There you go. All right, so let me let me know. Right now, I'm gonna play you guys a little music, and I will grab the link for that video. Somebody Lack said that they'd like the link for that video, so I'm gonna play you guys a little track, and then I'll do that, and then we'll come back with more discussion on some of the things that are going on, and share with you guys some more tools on, especially moving towards your own self-reliance and things of that nature. So, all right, so moving on and moving into another thing that you guys can do for yourself is to grow sweet potatoes. And that was a really great question that I brought on Patient Zero last week, and he asked me, what are the most calorie dense survival foods you could grow? Potatoes being number one, and definitely up there in that category is sweet potatoes. And sweet potatoes just don't give you that super sugar rush that the potatoes are going to give you. So they're not as a hard a kick on the body for that, and they're really easy to propagate. So what I have here in this photo is just an organic sweet potato that you can buy from your local supermarket, and you just let it sit out for a little while, and it'll sprout out its little roots from the eye of the different eyes on the sweet potato, and you just let that go, and then you go and you plant out this guy, and you can also one of the great things about sweet potatoes is you can also harvest the greens, and the greens are really delicious. And when you cook them up in a little bit of like garlic butter or something like that, and you can eat the greens, and they're really tasty. So they're another plant that you can kind of just like maybe plant in your front yard, and not really anybody would really know about the sweet potato unless they were pretty good at identifying it. And so it's just another thing. It's like one of those things that you can kind of like guerrilla garden in your front yard. So uh, so it'd be really good. Yeah. Yeah, Lax, that's really good. Dried beans is another really calorie dense, really good calorie dense food. Corn is yeah, all those are really good. Squashes, corn. You want to there's dent corn is really good for the south, and you can use that for grits. And then there's another one for the north, I believe. I believe I wrote it down here. Do not have it right on me. But yeah, there's dent corn for the south, and then there's a different variety for up north. Actually, if you give me a second, I'll go into my Discord server for anybody that wants to learn, some more the information that I talk about here. I'm gonna put the link to my Discord channel in here, or I'm gonna throw an invite down in there for anyone that wants to go check out that Discord channel. And I talk about a lot of this stuff in there. We share, stuff that I'm coming across, some cool videos, and just kind of different tools. There's a lot of PDFs in there for. Uh-oh, that's the wrong thing. There's a lot of PDFs in there for survival and survival type stuff, and yeah. So if I can get this figured out here and make sure that I can get this copied correctly. There we go. I'm gonna do that, I'll drop the link into the chat here. I think there's a lot of people in here that are already in there. But anyway, if you wanted to go check it out, there's some stuff in there to go check out. So yeah, we were talking about calorie dense foods. There's a really great video that I found on that recently, and I'm pretty sure I put that. I think I put that down here. Nope, that's not where I put it. Nope. Anyway, if I had my act together a little bit better, I would already had that figured out. And I guess I hid it from myself on my own Discord server. So anyway, yeah, there's a really great video for that, and I'll definitely post that when I post the recording for this, which I am also behind on. But here's a great video for identifying wild edibles that I think would be really helpful for everybody out there. This guy Sergey Butenko, and this video goes into a lot of methods for being able to identify wild edibles, even in like a city environment. And so I highly recommend checking out that video for sure. For anybody that wants to look into something like that. But yeah, let's sweet potatoes, really simple, and they can be planted and they can grow in a lot of places. So yeah, there's an idea for people that are looking to grow more calorie dense foods. Potatoes being like number one, definitely corn, and then dried beans. Another one off the top of my head is nuts, tree nuts like walnuts, pecans, chestnuts, and hazelnuts. Supposedly hazelnut trees, you plant them once and then these things can last up to 100 years. Like the hazelnut trees, they keep producing hazelnuts for you every year, and they're just like really great calorie dense foods. So so yeah, that's good. All right, so we got somebody going on some ice cream there. That looks good, and it's great for a hot summer. I'll tell you what, it sure is ramping up the heat here in Alabama, and this past week has been super steamy, and we've been getting tons of rain. So yeah, that's been going on. So the next thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about is something that that I really advocate for, and it is the concept of agorism, or the marketplace, and actually creating a new system that makes the current one obsolete. And so this is out of Derek Brose's book, How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State, the oncoming technocratic state. So let me see if I hold that up there. How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State. And I'm just going to read you guys a little excerpt from that. A little excerpt from this book. And talk about some strategies on how we can really shift, or how humanity can shift towards a new direction, which is the agora, or just opting out of the current system that stands as far as everything that's tracked, traced, and databased, and totally surveilled over you. So I'm going to start with this one paragraph here. It's on page 25 of the book. So he says the goal is to question and challenge the mechanisms of power that seek influence and rule over our lives. This includes the state as well as other institutions that attempt to exert control and influence. For example, by choosing to grow your own food or supporting local farmers, you are taking a vertical step away from the biotechnology corporations that promote the heavy use of pesticides and potentially hazardous technology. You are also not supporting the transportation of food products from thousands of miles away. Instead, you walk to your backyard or their local market for your produce. This greatly increases your independence while terminating support for an unsustainable industry. These vertical steps are also the easiest way to begin living in line with your principles. Once again, we can see the value of consistency of words and actions. Per Bylan describes the horizontal or an extrovert strategy as more related to Samuel Konkin's ideas. The extrovert label is related to the bold choice to pursue actions the state considers to be illegal or immoral. By venturing into this territory, you're joining the ranks of the bootlegger, the moonshiner, the cannabis dealer, the guerrilla gardener, the weapons dealer, the crypto anarchist, and the unlicensed lawnmower, food vendor, or barber. When one combines the vertical and horizontal agorist strategy, an image comes into view that illustrates the steps of a wide range of people that can take in a variety of living situations and environments. And so yeah, here we go. We can look at this little. We'll look at this little. Here's the little chart here that's on the page, and yeah, it kind of talks about your vertical and horizontal agorism, and as you move towards the top right of the graph, you can move towards freedom, and then toward the bottom left, you're more in the realm of the statism still. So anyway, yeah, in the bottom left-hand corner and in the top right corner, we have agorism. We can plot vertical actions that help lift the individual up from dependency. Perhaps your situation is better suited to vertical actions such as growing your own food, using encrypted messaging, hosting community skill shares at your house, practicing peaceful parenting tactics, providing alternatives to state welfare by crowdfunding money for community projects and feeding the homeless, or simply cleaning up the neighborhood. Each of these steps moves the individual and, in the long term, the community vertical towards consistency and independence. For those who are ready to become counter-economists and take on the risks of the gray and black market activity, we plot their actions both vertically and horizontally. An agorist practicing horizontally and vertically would move up and away from statism and dependency to the top right position of agorism. This means that for every garden built, alternative currency used, tax avoided, skills shared, business practiced without a license, and illegal substance sold, the individual can plot their progress moving from dependency to self-reliance, from statism to agorism. And when Konkin first espoused this concept of agorism, consciously practicing the counter-economy may have only involved a few radical libertarians, but since that time, opportunities for black and gray market exchanges have grown immensely. As the state's weakness becomes apparent, it will become safer for the masses to begin exiting the former economy and joining the counter-economy. And I believe we're truly seeing this at this time. So many people's individual businesses have been harmed. So many people have to find some kind of side income source, some kind of side income stream to be able to even survive. And so, we're facing massive unemployments and things like that for right now. So, all right, we'll see you, Crimson Clad. Good, thanks for hanging out. So anyway, yeah, we have these things going on right now, and I really see this as moving into the counter economy as a way to to be able to survive these times and to adapt and to grow into a new system which doesn't feed the current system which has failed so many, in my opinion. So agorism is a practical and action oriented technique to move in that direction. And so yeah, just think about all of these things that I just described. A lot of people do these things without even calling it agorism, but yeah, every time that you do these things like growing your own food, using encrypted messages such as like Keybase or the Signal app, or using Telegram, you send an encrypted email using something called like Tutanota is a good one. And anytime you do those things, you're keeping information out away from the state's hands. You're protecting your privacy. You're increasing your independence, and so definitely these things a lot of people are doing without even not even calling it agorism or even understanding the philosophy of agorism. So he goes on to say in the book, he says, we cannot defeat the technocratic state by using their technology blindly, as this will only serve to empower them. We must create and support alternatives to the state monopolies whenever and wherever possible. It will take brave counter-economists venturing into uncharted territories, making mistakes, occasionally falling victim to the state's laws, and learning how to better our approach. We need those pioneers to lay the groundwork so that others will not have to face the same difficulties in the future. As these trailblazers light the way, we also to expect to see a growth of free communities, free networks around the world. And Derek goes on to say, I have a vision of thousands of interlocking autonomous communities comprised of empowered individuals with a variety of unique ideas and expressions of the human experience. These communities are voluntarily trading and sharing skills without the violence inherent in our current paradigm, and without the consent of without the constant invasions of privacy. I believe this world can be achieved with an organized effort to spread agorist philosophy and increase participation in the counter economy through vertical and horizontal agorism, and then the concept of freedom cells, which is an effort that's going on right now in the world. And people are organizing and creating these individual little pockets and communities to doing the exact thing that I just described, which is to create networks of the counter-economic principles, and even to have different groups as far as just peaceful parenting and raising kids and without having to use violence and things like that, just around those principles. So yeah, it's something called Freedom Cells, and then I'll pull up the web page here. If anybody is interested in these ideas and you want to be a leader, if you want to be, step up and be a leader in that area, great. Yeah, Patient Zero pulled it up there. Yeah, so this is a way that you can get involved, and you can scroll down here. You can sign up on their website there to remain in contact with them. But right now there's meetings that are going on, doing online meetings. People are starting to network together. There's a Telegram group for the Freedom Cell Network that I'm a part of, and if anybody's interested in maybe learning more about it, or wants to get like an invite to the Telegram group, if you have Telegram or something like that, hit me up in a DM. And then this is an exciting time for both. We're living in a time where there's all these regulations, all these rules being put down more than ever before, and I really think that it's causing a groundswell of people that really understand where this is all going, to totally reject that system and start to build a better one. I think a better system that's underlying. So as this system, as the current one is failing, there will be a system there that will be able to provide a little bit of a smoother transition into a better way of living, in my opinion. As Buckminster Fuller said, don't fight the current system, create a new system that makes the old one obsolete. And so that's really the idea behind this, and the idea behind Freedom Cells and what's going on there. And really, it's about creating a small group of around 8 to 10 people that want to meet on a regular basis. It could be weekly, it could be monthly, and you don't have to have all those people in one physical location. It could be people kind of like preferably within a driving or biking or some kind of distance between each other, where you guys could, if it really came down to it, and you had to walk to get somewhere, you could walk to go to your allies that are in the locality that you're at. And so this is kind of an old concept. They're called mutual aid societies. I think they were once called mutual aid societies, but anyway, some examples of people that are doing this right now. They're getting together and they're helping each other build their gardens out, and so they're playing out their garden and have everything all kind of put together for their idea for their garden. And then they say, hey, we're gonna meet up this day, and we're gonna help Bob over here that's wanting to get a new garden set up so that they have their food for their family. So, and then it just kind of goes around in the group, and everybody kind of helps each other with their projects, and kind of tries to share skills with each other along the way. And that's just one example of what you can do. Some of the other examples is just like people that want to do homeschooling. They get together and they do like some homeschooling groups, and they're they're coming together to teach their kids different things. And that's how it works, guys. It's just going to take real world actions for everyone to decide that they want to move in a better direction, or they want to move in a different direction than this current system, and just taking the actions in the world to start moving in that direction. And it really comes with starting to build a community around yourself. Just in my own personal life, what I'm trying to do is I've got, kind of people in a few different locations around where I am. Not all of them are like totally onto the philosophy that I'm into, but all of them want to be self-reliant people, and they're all trying to move in that direction. And so yeah, the kind of the thing that I'm working on in my own life is to start hosting these Skillshare events, and to have people down on my land, and we're going to cover different skills. Like one Sunday a month is kind of where I'm thinking about starting with this, and just getting, kind of a core group of like 8 to 10 people together, and just start putting out kind of a newsletter on what's going on in the local community, and what we're working on, and then try to organize events to where we go out and we're helping each other with different projects, and let's just start there. So that's where I'm starting with this in my personal life, and that's where I'm trying to take it, to just kind of just grow more community, and to get out in the local community. I talked to one of my buddies that is a farmer, and he raises sheep locally here. And one of the great tips that he gave me recently was just to talk to property owners, especially if you're looking to raise some kind of livestock or something like that. And just go talk to the property owner if they have like an area of pasture or something like that you'd like to use for your animals, and just talk to them about raising and running your livestock or your animals on their property, and you just take care of everything, and you share some of the food with them for using the land or something like that. And yeah, he's got somebody that's allowing him to use like 60 acres because they just talked to him like that, and they're allowing him to run his sheep on like 60 acres. It's not like they just worked out a deal like that. So anyway, yeah, if you're looking to get started farming, yeah, I mean, it may be as simple as that to just get started and just talk to some of your neighbors and see if they'd be willing to do something like that to use some of their land to provide some more food and for yourself and your community. So there's an option there. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, a second break here, and play you guys some more music, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of wrap up the show, and we'll have Crimson Clad's Cyber Buzz coming up next. We got about what do we got? About 40 minutes left in the show here, and then we'll cover a few topics. I'd like to kind of have a little discussion. Oh, no Crim next. Okay, sorry, y'all. No Crim. She's off for the 4th of July. Okay. All right, guys. So you got me today, so I will be as entertaining as possible. I'll bring if anybody wants to come on and maybe have a little discussion with me or something. Call me names or something like that. I'm willing to have a discussion with somebody at the toward the end of the show here, and then yeah, it's up to you guys where we can take this show, and we'll get into it. Yeah, more garden info. Okay, so Fox said so we'll get into some more garden info. Yeah. So Fox was talking about let's talk about some more garden stuff, and yeah, a couple more things that I did have prepared today, as far as those kind of things. These were some things that were brought up in the Freedom Cell recent meeting. So anyway, one of the resources that was brought up here was this website workaway.info, and this is like a way for you to kind of go and travel, and if you're willing to do like some work for a few hours a day, in exchange for a place to stay and some food to eat. And then some hosts may actually have a small in return for some kind of wage for you. So this is a way that you could do that. You could go and travel and kind of find jobs uh, as you're going around the country and just try to find a way to just not in this country. I think it's also internationally, and uh, so yeah, that's an option for anybody that wants to try to do something like that. And I'll drop that in the chat room here for you guys to go check out if you want to go check that out. So workaway.info. That's something there for that. And another one is woofing, and this is worldwide organic farming. And this is a way that you could go and travel and kind of you go and work on some organic farms, and you'll get hosted by the farmer and the organic farmer, given a place to stay and some food to eat and stuff like that. So these are a couple of options for people that are looking to maybe kind of reject the current system as it stands right now. If you find yourself in a period of unemployment or something like that, here's some options for if you want to like kind of go in a different direction. If you're interested in farming and doing some different things in any way, maybe doing some traveling, but don't quite have the resources to do the traveling. There's a couple options for you. And so I just want to put those out there for you guys, and definitely those are some things that you can go check out. So So there you go. So how is everybody doing out there in as far as what's going on in the world right now? Like, what are you guys seeing in your local communities? I know Texas. It sounds like Texas is talking about this whole mandatory mask thing, and well, I know we talked a little bit about what's going on there as far as that goes. I know in my local area they're talking about in Madison County. I believe that they did recently put some kind of mandatory masks down and on the docket, and so yeah, I just want to hear a little bit about what you guys are experiencing out there. Lax, would you want to come on and talk? I know you had some words to say earlier in the show, and so maybe you want to come on and maybe we want to have a little discussion. So if you're there and you want to have a discussion, I'd welcome you to come on and we'll talk about it. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, um, yeah, I don't know what you guys are seeing out there, but yeah, in my local area, they're definitely getting on top of trying to put the mandatory masks out there for everything. Uh, so that's definitely something that I'm seeing in this community. But yeah, there's recently I would like to share this video with you guys. There's a recent video with World Alternative Media with Josh Sigurdson. Um, and he interviewed a couple of the guys that I've come to know from going down to Anarchapulco, and there's some really great activist guys that are getting out there, and they're really changing some things, especially in California, where they've been having these events where they're going out on the beaches that have been deemed to, you know, be, you know, where everybody's not supposed to be out on the beaches and stuff like that. They've been organizing events to go out to the beaches and to, you know, just assert their rights. And so, uh, yeah, so there's David Rodriguez. Recently, he was traveling on the airplanes and was coming back from. They recently had Pork Fest, which is up in New Hampshire, and he was traveling back to his home in California. And on his flights, he got kicked off one of the American Airlines flights going into from North Carolina back to California, and he just to do the flights, he just told them that he had medical exemption. They didn't make him wear a mask or anything like that. But on this flight going from North Carolina to back to California, they were giving him a hard time about filming on the airplane, and they were saying there's some kind of policy violation or some kind of law about this out there. So anyway, he didn't film on the airplane, and he just asked the question: was it okay to film in the jetway? American Airlines didn't give him any explanation or anything like that. He just wanted to get on his flight. They wouldn't let him get on his flight, and they ended up. They said they were going to give him a voucher for a new flight, but they didn't. They didn't end up giving that to him. So yeah, American Airlines kind of screwed him over on his flight. Wouldn't let him board his flight, and then wouldn't help him out with refunding the flight or whatever, and or getting him a new flight. And so, anyway, American Airlines sounds like they really suck. Anyway, he booked another flight for the next day. Some people sent him some donations. He's able to book a flight for the next day, and really he's just trying to assert his rights. You know, not have to wear a mask on these planes, and using the medical exemption, which seems to be very effective for doing that. And so far is what I've seen. So it's a cool piece of activism that he's doing there to get that out to people and show what you can do. So So in this video, in this YouTube video with World Alternative Media, he talks to David Rodriguez, and he's talking to Etienne de Boissy Squared, and they're talking to you guys about the whole issue, what's going on with the mask and some of the activism that they're doing. And I really think that the activism that they're doing is really important, especially for their interactions with the police and the way that they interact with the police, which they go, instead of trying to be extremely combative with the police, they're trying to put it back on their own moral principles as a human being. That what they're doing in enforcing these arbitrary laws that are being put down on a piece of paper for enforcing nonviolent crimes on people are against their own morality, and then that they have the discretion to not enforce these bullshit laws against peaceful and nonviolent people. And so they're really doing well. If you guys go and check out some of the activism that they're doing, you can go check out David Rodriguez has a Facebook page, and then Etienne de Boissy is part of the activism that David Rodriguez is doing out there in California. And so he's been putting out some Facebook Live videos. He also has his own YouTube channel. Sees David Rodriguez on YouTube, I believe, and he's a really good guy to go check out and kind of see what his everything that he's doing as far as activism is really good. Anyway, it's really inspiring to me, and just want to share that with you guys. Let's see. Never mind. David Rodriguez. All right, so never mind. I can't find his YouTube channel. But anyway, I'll play you guys a little clip from this. I'll play you guys a little clip from this video, and and then one of the little sections that I think is really, really important on this video. I'm gonna play you guys a little clip from it.
And making arrests for victimless crimes, that all of the issues that are burning down the American cities start out. So instead of defunding the police, we're looking to defang the police against the citizens. They would still retain the ability to, protect life, liberty, and property. But we're encouraging the police officers to get together collectively with their union or outside of their union if the union's not going to participate, and say we're drawing a thick red line in the sand, and we're saying we as a department are no longer going to arrest people for victimless crimes. We're only going to act in defense of life, liberty, and property, which is a right that you have yourself, so you can delegate that right to the police. But because you don't have the right to tell your neighbor what kind of plants to smoke, and you don't have the right to tell your neighbor whether or not he can gamble, well, you obviously can't delegate rights that you don't have yourself to a representative or to a government or to a police officer to exercise rights you don't have on your behalf. So the police, once they understand that these, the kind of, this is where morality is, bad people use violence to try and achieve social, goals and changes, and say, we're not going to do that. We're not going to be bad people. We're not going to use violence preemptively. Well, then that ends all the problems with the police. And so government-scam.com /thick red line, and we have these cards for cops that explain the reality to them. And we're looking for people, if you know police officers that would be willing to organize their department and draw a thick red line in the sand and come out on the side of morality and of voluntary relationships and not trying to force people to do things at the point of a government gun, well, then the people were going to respect them again.
Well, you got to think, a lot of people don't realize, there has to be a line drawn somewhere, and where some people might think it's okay to call the police on their neighbor or tell their neighbor what they can or cannot smoke. It's like, can you go into your neighbor's fridge and say, you got 2% milk? You got to drink 1% milk. You might get a little fat if you drink the 2. It's crazy to me. But I wanted to ask you, we are dealing with a serious psychological operation here. I mean, and not just from the perspective of, you know, wearing the mask and following the orders, but the fact that people are becoming very depressed, suicide rates are skyrocketing, people are getting seriously mentally damaged from this whole year. 2020, even if you have the strongest core, it's still, everyone's a little bit affected, you know, mentally. It's hard not to be, because we've entered straight into the twilight zone. You walk around, it's like being surrounded by zombies sometimes. They have masks, you only see their eyes, you can never see smiles. It really has an effect on the mind. And I wanted to ask you, because you have been going out and talking to people about masks, and you've been going to stores and practicing not wearing a mask and everything, what your reaction from the average person is. Is it that of, I want, you know, I want to follow the orders because we'll kill someone, even though there's no scientific evidence of that? Or, you know, so what was your reaction from the average person when you tell them that masks are pointless?
Yeah, I think there's two camps. I think there's a camp that respects my right to choose, and I think there's a camp that's very afraid because they trust the media. So sometimes I'll go in the, and by the way, we did something called Operation Grocery Store that went a little bit viral, and you can see some of the videos that we did on Facebook, but they come up. I'm in the grocery store without a mask, and they're wearing a mask and say, I wish I had the courage to not wear a mask too. I'm like, you just go like this. Yeah. You can do it. But people are afraid, right? And that's why I'm so passionate about schools, because they teach obedience rather than critical thinking, independent thought. They say, okay, if the media says it, then we must follow. If the governor says it, then we must follow. So I think the reaction, and what I'm seeing in my own family and my other friends, is that there's two camps: consensual relationships and coercive relationships. We got to choose, and I choose consent. And so even if it puts people at risk for not wearing a mask, you have a right to your life, and life is full of risk. There is no safety. There is no guarantee of we're going to make it till tomorrow. So let's be free today. Let's not be slaves. And that's been the reaction, is that there's two teams. I recommend you be on Team Freedom instead of Team Coercion, because it's really, that's where it's going. I mean, not where it's going, that's where it's at right now. So you need to become educated on what freedom is. I believe freedom is the issue of our lifetime. And if enough of us don't get speaking out, as you are and some of the great media producers out there, ATN here, a bunch of people, freedom is the issue, and voluntary relationship seems to be the answer.
So what do we do then now that I mean, obviously government is more fear than force at the end of the day. It's people obeying. But what do you do then when you have a state saying everyone must wear masks, period? California, Las Vegas, many places.
Let me take that one, because the other thing that I want people to understand is that we went into the hospitals very, very early on. We were in the hospitals 2 months ago. We're in the hospital in Santa Clara, California, that the LA Times called the epicenter of COVID in California. We were there 2 months ago in the kind of the height of it, and we blew the lid off it, that there's nobody in this hospital, that the tents are empty, that we talked to the people that were doing the testing. They weren't doing very much testing at all. They weren't seeing any more disease or death rates than the usual and customary seasonal flu. We also went into a hospital called Dominican in Santa Cruz and found the exact same thing: empty tents, empty waiting rooms, no evidence of any kind of pandemic whatsoever. And we did this before we started engaging in the mask exercise. So we knew there's no pandemic. We've talked to doctors, emergency room doctors, we've talked to paramedics, we've talked to nurses, we've talked to people all over the country, and we have not been able to find any evidence of any pandemic in any city other than New York. And then even the stories of New York and what's been going on in Elmhurst Hospital in New York, now there's whistleblowers coming out and saying that the hospital is counting people as COVID that didn't have COVID, and the New York Times was caught lying about the situation with ventilators, and so the whole thing smells like a media hoax. And one of the things that I find successful is we point out to people, how many times has the media lied to you? They've lied to you about Kuwaiti babies tossed out of incubators. They've lied to you about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They've lied to you about 9/11. They've lied to you about the Gulf of Tonkin incident. They've lied to you about the Brooks Brothers riot. They've just go down the line of media deception, media and government deception, media and government deception, media and government deception. And can you not recognize that here we go again? It's just another media and government deception, because as my book, Government, the Biggest Scam in History, exposed, it's intergenerational organized crime using government as a technique to rob and control society, using their partnership with the media to control perception and to make people think it's legitimate that they're getting robbed, that they have to participate in it. And what we're telling them is it's not. It's all illegitimate, and the only reason you believe in COVID or you believe in the government is because the government is sending you a never-ending stream of propaganda telling you that both of those are legitimate, and we're blowing the lid off of it.
Yeah, and bear with me for a second, because I always think that it's important for those that might be new viewers to hear the bullet points, and I'll get into why I'm saying this in a moment, but keep in mind that Dr. Fauci ran the Institution for Allergies and Infectious Diseases, which got millions of dollars in grants to work at the Wuhan Institute of Virology between 2015 and 2019 to develop or to study coronavirus in bats. It's 96% similar to the novel coronavirus, and in that study, the whole purpose was to be able to spread it to humans. Now, fast forward, you have Event 201, you got these massive Bill Gates trials where you have a lot of the people involved in the current pandemic situation, simulation, whatever you want to call it, they were involved in Event 201. A ton of money went into it. And then also, now know the facts, the stats. They originally said 3.7%, 7% death toll or mortality rate. What it ended up being is, according to the CDC themselves on their website, hidden away in their latest study, it says the chances of dying from it, if you have it, are 0.26%. If you take away nursing homes, it's 0.2%. If you take away people over 50, it's 0.1%. If you count all asymptomatic cases, it's 0.04%. And if you take away everyone, not just getting it, but everyone in general, it's 0.002% chance of dying, which is less than the flu. You can't spread it if you're asymptomatic. Well, it's a 1 in about 10,000 chance. And on top of that, masks don't restrict this. The social distancing of 6 feet doesn't make any sense. You have to do 45 feet if you're actually going to do that. So it doesn't actually do anything. It's not airborne. Everything that we're being told about this is a lie. I have massively bad asthma. I've had pneumonia many times in my life. I had COVID in January. Let me tell you, you can't get it again. Let me tell you, wearing that mask, for me, I cough all day. I could get a lung infection from it. People don't give a damn when I tell them that. So all these facts on the table, you're talking to an average person who watches CNN or Fox News or one of these channels and is standing there at a grocery store. You're not wearing a mask. She freaks out. She thinks you're killing her kids. She thinks you're killing her mother. You can't just break down all the stats for her in the store because she's not going to listen. How do you deal with that specific person? Because that is one of the biggest psychological cases that we will have to work on, is that people are scared, so they obey.
Well, first off, you got to understand statists are very dangerous people because their moral code and compass has been shifted through the indoctrination of the schools. So some of the first questions I ask is, hey, I'm a little bit skeptical of this whole COVID thing. Are you trusting the media and kind of see where they're at? Because if they full on believe the media, there's not much I can do. I'm one voice, and they have CNN and ABC and all these guys, all this propaganda. So they're like, I trust the experts. I'm like, well, we've done personal investigations into these things, and there's nobody in the hospitals. And then you have Erin Marie, the RN from Elmhurst Hospital in New York, who did an undercover video, and she showed how the test for COVID says unconfirmed, and then at the top it says confirmed. So she's showing how the software is skewed. So it seems to be a media hoax, but talking with people, first of all, I got to see if their mind is open. If they have an open mind, then we can get somewhere. If not, I send them peace and love. And people that work in the government, I know there's good people and they're not such a giant conspiracy, but the media is controlled. And so if you have an open mind, you got to look at both sides. That's what educated people do.
Yeah, and by the way, the tests also, I should add, the guy who invented the tests says himself it does not test for coronavirus. It tests for exosomes, which could be any virus or any illness, and it'll just test positive for anything they test you for. So, I mean, that says all you need to know about the numbers. And again, I don't believe that it doesn't exist. I believe it's a bioweapon, but I had it. But also, I don't think the world should be shut down over something that actually is coming out to have killed less than the flu. So we're looking at possibly a second wave, quote unquote, shutdown coming. The economy's already completely devastated. People are killing themselves in mass, though a lot of people are buying guns, I should note. I mean, there's this weird fluctuation. Yeah. But I mean, how much longer do you guys think that you're going to be able to continue or keep this civil disobedience up before they just throw you in jail? I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
We're undefeated against the police, so I'm not really worried about them throwing us in jail. What I'm doing is I'm exposing. So in addition to what we've done with the civil disobedience, I've also produced a multi-researcher investigation into Plandemic and who's behind Plandemic at government-scam.com/Plandemic. And we believe that COVID is the engineered, manufactured excuse for multi-trillion-dollar bailouts. This is a bank robbery. They spent billions of dollars to get trillions of dollars. So they manufactured a pandemic out of something that was not a pandemic as the manufactured excuse to hand trillions of dollars to private banks, private companies through Wall Street, through the Federal Reserve, and BlackRock Capital is now engaged in something called special purpose vehicles, where they're buying corporate paper, commercial paper, they're nationalizing industry, they're bailing out their friends on Wall Street, they're bailing out cartel companies at the expense of mom and pop restaurants. They're waging economic warfare against the population. So they're driving independent businesses, independent restaurants, independent coffee chains, independent hotel chains out of business, and they're coming in with chain stores, chain restaurants, chain coffee shops. If you take a look at Bill Ackman, Pershing Capital Management, one of the examples of foreknowledge, of people having foreknowledge. He not only does he claim he successfully hedged his portfolio against the unthinkable and made $2.6 billion, but when you go into his portfolio, it is almost designed. It's like he knew that someone was going to put all of these chain restaurants, chain hotels, and chain coffee shops out of business, because his portfolio is Starbucks, Chipotle, Hilton Hotels, and Restaurant Brands International, which runs 26,000, Popeyes, Tim Hortons, and Burger Kings. So they're going to put all the mom and pops out of business, and they're going to come in with deep-pocketed chain restaurants as a form of economic warfare to destroy private wealth. And so you've got to fight back. They're holding these businesses' heads underwater, going, oh, we're going to let you out from underwater in a week or two, and then a week or two comes along, oh no, it's just going to be 2 more weeks, as they're literally holding you underwater.
And in some case, by the way, in some cases they'll say, oh yeah, in 2 days you'll be able to open back up, so everyone's getting all their supplies, and then the day before suddenly they say, oh, actually never mind, you have to stay closed. So then they lose a bunch of money on stuff, the inventory and stuff like that. They went after the small grocery chains and said, or not even chains, just grocery stores in general, and said, you have to stay closed, your aisles aren't big enough, but Walmart can stay open. Absolutely insane.
All right, so there you go. If you want to watch more of it, the video link is there in the chat room. So I think it's really great, really great for the for you to go check out. They really lay it down, a lot of good stuff there. I also put down Etienne's website there, government-scam/pandemic, for anybody that wants to add the research that they've been doing on what's been going on. This is somewhere where they're working to aggregate everybody's research and some stuff like that. So, and then there's a lot of the research that that's already been going on, that these guys have been going on. That website, government-scam.com. They also have, there's also the ability to download the PDF of the book, of Etienne's book, Government, the Biggest Scam in History. And this is a really, really great book for anybody that wants to, go out there and talk to your friends, and, maybe you have somebody that might be, receptive of this, this information. You might talk to them a little bit, and they kind of get it. And so this is a really great book that you can either order or you can download for free, and you can get it downloaded on a thumb drive and be able to spread that information around to others that you believe that might be receptive to that information. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys hanging out for the show. Just a shout out to everybody's that's out here hanging around. We got Gabriel, we got Breeze, we got Foxit, we got Lax, Patience Zero, and Rondon. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this July 4th, the day that I declare my individual independence, and that we remember the founding fathers and their true message, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they could have left it right there. And as long as you're not being violent against other people, we live by the non aggression principle. Defend yourself and do what your pursue your own happiness and actions in the world. Take responsibility for yourself, and that's really what freedom is all about, is personal responsibility. So just moving into a positive direction. Hopefully, we give you some good tools on how to think about moving forward. And if you're wondering, about the solutions on what all is happening right now, and you're looking for some answers, you are the answer. It is up to you. It is up to every individual to take upon their own shoulders the responsibility to take care of yourself and your community, and to live in sovereignty, live in and own yourself, and own your own body, and don't let a don't let people to dictate what you're supposed to be doing in your life, as long as you're being a peaceful person and not interfering with the rights of others. And so yeah, anyway, that's really what I want to leave you guys with, and really appreciate everybody that comes out and being a part of the show. And so yeah, that's just what I wanted to get across today. I am gonna be working on getting some more guests for the show. And getting some of those guys lined up, and coming back next week with some good guests for you guys, and I got really great people, especially the people that I'm working with these the Freedom Cell movement, and everybody that's getting started on that. There's some pretty cool people that I met in those groups that are doing interesting projects all over the country. Definitely in Texas, there's a group that I was talking about that's doing the peaceful parenting type things. And, there's people in this wonderful community that are doing also all sorts of really cool stuff around there. And there's, lots of farmers, lots of homesteaders out in our Hive community, the Hive and Steam community that are out there creating some really great content that I've brought on the show in the past. Breeze is one of them that's doing her thing out there in Africa. And yeah, just you guys are all really great people. Love you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out for the show once again. Definitely go check out government-scam.com /plandemic. And then for anybody that is interested in starting to organize in your local area and just starting to try to meet maybe more like-minded people in your local area, freedomcells.org is a place to go check out. If you're interested in maybe getting involved with some of the Telegram groups or something like that, please send me a DM sometime if you want to maybe get involved with some of that. And you want to try to either organize in your local area, or you got somebody in mind that you might think that could host some events or something like that. It's a really cool group of people. They got a Facebook group that's going on with Texas, and then they got some other stuff going on in different areas of the country. Texas is one of the more active places these guys are getting started at. So anyway, another reminder for you guys, for anybody that is wanting to learn more about the legal system, wanting to learn a little bit more about how to assert yourself, how to assert your rights, go to urlaw.org. And there's some free content up here on how to understand how to assert yourself more, especially one of the things that I was talking to you guys about in previous weeks with the book, The UCC Connection, How to Free Yourself with Legal Tyranny. I kind of think that's like step one in understanding your rights more, and understanding how we all live under something called the Uniform Commercial Code. And and that we're all kind of living under this system that's kind of been pulled over all of our eyes, and we're kind of living under kind of a layer of as the United States is a corporation, and there's still that layer of common law and natural law from the republic that is a layer outside of that corporation, but it's important to understand how that works. So you can learn more information about that at yourlaw.org, and definitely recommend everybody go checking that out. And so I'll end the show by just playing you guys another track from The Devil Makes Three that I really love. And we'll see you guys next week on the Meadows and Makers podcast. Love you all. I hope you have a wonderful day. Looks like Rondon's gonna do some pirate radio after this, and we're gonna listen to some good Rondon old American music, and we'll all chill out and we'll have a good time. So, all right, guys, that's gonna be it for me, and thank you for coming to hang out.